Good evening. It is April 14th. Tonight we are going to be reading Old Testament, New Testament, Psalms, and Proverbs. We are reading from Joshua 9:3 to 10:43, Luke 16:19 through 17:10, and Psalms 83 1 through 18, and Proverbs 13:4. We try to do the Lord's Prayer every single night. If you will join in with me, that would be fabulous. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Joshua 9:3 through 10:43. A little longer tonight, I think. So the people of Gibeon heard what Joshua had done to Jericho and Ai and cooked up a ruse. They posed as travelers, their donkeys loaded with patched sacks and mended wineskins, threadbare, threadbare sandals on their feet, tattered clothes on their bodies, nothing but dry crust and crumbs for food. They came to Joshua in Gilgal and spoke of the men of Israel. We've come from a far off country to make a covenant with us. The men of Israel said to the Hivites, how do we know you aren't local people? How could we then make a covenant with you? They said to Joshua, we'll be your servants. Joshua said, who are you now? Where did you come from? They said, a far off country, very far away. Your servants came because we've heard such good things about your God, your God. All those things he did in Egypt and the two Amorite kings across the Jordan, King Shihon Heshbah and King of Og Bashan, who ruled the Astroth. Our leaders and everybody else in their country told us, pack up some food for the road and go and meet them. Tell them we're your servants. Make a covenant with us. This bread was warm from the oven when we packed it and left to come to see you. Now look at it. It's crust and crumbs. And you cracked and mended wine and our cracked and mended wineskins, good as new, when we filled them, and our clothes and sandals in tatters from the long, hard travels. The men of Israel looked them over and accepted the evidence, but they didn't ask God about it. So Joshua made peace with them and formalized it with a covenant to guarantee their lives. The leaders of the congregation swore to it. And then, 3 days after making this covenant, they learned that they were next door neighbors who had been living there all along. The people of Israel broke camp and set out. 3 days later, they reached their towns Gibeon, Kirpar, Beeroth, Kirath, Jearim, but the people of Israel didn't attack them. The leaders of the congregation had given their word before the God of Israel, but the congregation was up in arms over their leaders. The leaders were united in their response to the congregation. We promised them in the presence of God of Israel, we can't lay a hand on them now, but we can do this. We will let them live so we don't get blamed for breaking our promise. Then the leaders continued, we'll let them live, but they will be woodcutters and water carriers for the entire congregation. And that's what happened. The leaders' promise were kept. But Joshua called the Gibeonites together and said, why did you lie to us, telling us we live far away from you, when you're our next door neighbors? For that you're cursed. From now on, it's menial labor for you, woodcutters and water carriers to the house of my God. They answered Joshua, we got the message loud and clear that God your God commanded through his servant Moses to give you the whole country and destroy everything living in it. We were terrified because of you. That's why we did this. That's it. We're at your mercy. Whatever you decide is right for us to do it. And that's what they did. Joshua delivered them from the power of the people of Israel so they didn't kill them. But he made them woodcutters and water carriers for the congregation and for the altar of God at the place God chose. They still are. It wasn't long before my master Zedek, king of Jerusalem, heard that Joshua had taken Ai and destroyed it, and the king under a holy curse, just as he had done to Jericho and its king. He also learned that the people of Gibeon had come to terms with Israel and were living as neighbors. He and his people were alarmed. Gibeon was a big city, as big as any with a king and bigger than Ai, and its men were seasoned fighters. Adon-Zedek, king of Jerusalem, sent word of Heham, king of Hebron, Piram, king of Jermoth, Japhia, king of Lachish, man, these names again, and Debir, king of Eglon. Come and help me. Let's attack Gibeon. They've joined up with Joshua and the people of Israel. So the 5 Amorite western kings, the king of Jerusalem, the king of Hebron, the king of Jarmuth, the king of Lachish, and the king of Eglon, combined their armies to set out to attack Gibeon. The men of Gibeon sent word to Joshua. The men of Gibeon sent word to Joshua, camped at Gilgal. Don't let us down now. Come up here quickly. Save us, help us. All the Amorite kings who live up in the hills have ganged up on us. So Joshua set out to Gilgal, his whole army with him. All those tough soldiers, God told him, don't give them a second thought. I'll put them under your thumb. Not one of them will stand up to you. Joshua marched all night from Gilgal and took them by total surprise. God threw them into total confusion before Israel, a major victory of Gibeon. Israel chased them all along the ridge to Beth Horon and fought them all the way down to Izakah, and Medek, and they ran from the people of Israel down to Beth Horon Ridge and all the way to Izkah. God pitched huge stones. God pitched huge on them out of the sky, and many died. More died from the hailstorms than the people of Israel that killed by the sword. The day God gave the Amorites up to Israel, Joshua spoke to God with all of Israel listening. Stop, sun over Gibeon. Halt, moon over Elajon Valley. And sun stopped, and the moon stopped still. And the moon stood stock still. Lord, that's a tongue twister. Until he defeated his enemies. You can book of Joshua. You can find this written in the book of Joshar. The sun stopped in its tracks in midday, just sat there all day. There's never been a day like that before and since. God took orders from a human voice. Truly, God fought for Israel. Then Joshua returned all Israel with him and to the camp of Gilgal. Meanwhile, the 5 kings that had hidden in the cave of Makkedah, Joshua was told the 5 kings had been found hidden in the cave of Makkedah. Joshua said, roll big stones against the mouth of the cave and post guards to keep watch, but don't you hang around. Go after your enemies. Cut off their retreat. Don't let them back into their cities. God has given them to you. Joshua and the people of Israel then finished them off, total devastation. Only a few got away to fortified towns. The whole army then returned intact to the camp and to Joshua and Makkedah. There was no criticism that day for the people of Israel. Then Joshua said, open the mouth of the cave and bring me the. They did it. They brought him the 5 kings from the cave, the king of Jerusalem, the king of Hebron, the king of Jarmuth, the king of Lachish, and the king of Eglon. When they had them all there in front of Joshua, he called up the army and told the field commanders who had been with him, come here, put your feet on their necks of these kings. They stepped up and put their feet on their necks. Joshua told them, don't hold back, don't be timid, be strong, be confident. This is what God will do with all your enemies when you fight them. Then Joshua struck and killed the kings. He hung them on 5 trees where they remained until evening. At sunset, Joshua gave the command. They took them down from the trees and threw them into the cave where they had hidden. Kings are still there. That same day, Joshua captured Makkedah, a massacre that included the king. He carried out the holy curse, no survivors. Makkedah's king got the same treatment as Jericho's king. Joshua, all Israel with him, moved on from Makkedah to Libnah, and fought against Libnah. God gave Libnah to Israel. They captured the city and king and massacred the lot. No survivors. Libnah's king got the same treatment as Jericho's king. Joshua, all Israel was with him, moved on from Libnah to Lashim. He set up camp nearby and attacked. God gave Lashim to Israel. Israel took it in 2 days and killed everyone. He carried out the holy curse, the same as Libnah. Horam, king of Gezer, arrived to help Lishna. Joshua attacked him and his army until there was nothing left of them, no survivors. Joshua, all Israel with him, moved on from Lisha to Eglon. They set up camp and attacked. They captured it and cursed everyone, carrying out the holy curse, the same as they had done with Lachish. Joshua, all Israel with him, went up from Eglon to Hebron. He attacked and captured it. They killed everyone, including its king, its villages, and the people. No survivors. They came up from Eglon. They carried out the holy curse on the city of people. Then Joshua, all Israel with him, turned down toward Dibri and attacked it. He captured it, its kings, and its villages. They killed everyone. They put everyone on and everything under the holy curse, no survivors. Debri and its king got the same treatment as Hebron and its king. Libnah and its king. Joshua took the whole country, hills, desert, foothills, and mountain slopes, including all kings. He left no survivors. He carried out the holy curse on everything that breathed. Just as God, the God of Israel, had commanded, Joshua's conquest stretched from Kadesh Barnea to Gaza, and from the entire region, Goshen to Gibeon. Joshua took all these kings and their lands in single campaign because God, the God of Israel, fought for Israel. Then Joshua, all Israel went with him, went back to the camp of Gilgal. Wow, that was a lot. A lot going on. A breakdown of Joshua 9:3 through 10:43. Don't skip discernment. The Gibeonites deceive Israel, pretending to be distant travelers. Israel does not ask God, it makes a bad covenant. The consequence, they're stuck honoring a deal built on deception. Then, man, ain't that something? Then God still gives Israel victory in battle. Sun stands still for a moment. Even after a mistake, God honors obedience moving forward. The lesson. Partial obedience, not seeking God, creates unnecessary problems, but God still moves when you realign. That stings. Partial obedience, not seeking God, creates unnecessary problems, but God still moves when you realign. Yeah, that sucks. Didn't do that here the last couple of days, to be honest with you. When I wake up in the morning, I'm up about 5 o'clock every morning, and the first thing I do is literally fall on my knees in the office here and submit to God. And I haven't been doing that. And I've been in a funk the last several days, and I feel like I was checking boxes, and I failed at that. Wow, that sucks. Okay, back at it tomorrow. Luke 16:19 through 17:10. There once was a rich man, expensively dressed in the latest fashions, wasting his days in conspicuous consumption. A poor man named Lazarus, covered with sores, had been dumped on the doorstep. All he lived for was to get a meal from scraps off the rich man's table. His best friends were the dogs who came and licked his sores. Then he died. This poor man was taken up by the angels to the lap of Abraham. Then the rich man also died and was buried in hell and in torment. He looked up and saw Abraham in the distance and Lazarus in his lap. He called out, Father Abraham, mercy, have mercy. Send Lazarus to dip his finger in water to cool my tongue. I'm in agony in this fire. But Abraham said, Child, remember that in your lifetime you got the good things and Lazarus had the bad things. It's not like that here. Here he consoled and you're tormented. Besides, in all these matters, these there is a huge chasm set between us so that no one can go from us to even if he wanted to, nor can anyone cross over for us to you. The rich man said, Then let me ask your father, send him to the house of my father where I have 5 brothers, so he can tell them the score and warn them so they won't end up here in the place of torment. Abraham answered, They have Moses and the prophets to tell them the score. Let them listen to them. I know, Father Abraham, he said, but they're not listening. If someone came back to them from the dead, they would change their ways. Abraham replied, If they won't listen to Moses and the prophets, they're not going to be convinced by someone who rises from the dead. He said to the disciples, Hard trials and temptations are bound to come, but too bad for whoever brings them on. Better to wear a concrete vest and take a swim with the fishes than to give even one of these dear little ones a hard time. Be alert. If you see your friend going wrong, correct him. If he responds, forgive him, even if it's personal against you and repeated 7 times through the day, and 7 times he says, I'm sorry, I won't do it again. Forgive him. So God's saying to basically forgive somebody 70 times, 7 times a day. That's 490 times a day. And I think I figured that out. It was every 32 seconds, I think it was. We were talking about this in the Better Man Saturday meeting we have, our Bible study. The apostles came up and said to the master, Give us more faith. But the master said, You don't need more faith. There is no more or less in faith. If you have a bare kernel of faith, say the size of a poppy seed, you could say to the sycamore tree, Go jump in the lake, and it would. Suppose one of you had a servant who comes in from plowing the field or tending the sheep. Would you take his coat, set the table, and say, Sit down and eat? Wouldn't you be more likely to say, Prepare dinner, change your clothes, and wait table for me? until I had finished my coffee. Then go to the kitchen, have your supper. Does this servant get special thanks for doing what's expected of him? It's the same with you. When you've done everything expected of you, but matter of fact, and say, the work is done, what we were told to do, we did. Breakdown of Luke 16:19 through 17:10, eternal perspective plus humble obedience. The rich man and Lazarus, one lived in comfort, ignored God, one suffered and trusted God. The roles reversed in eternity. What looks like winning now may be losing forever. Offense, forgiveness, and faith. Forgiveness repeatedly, no limit mindset. Faith isn't about size, it's about use. Obedience doesn't make you special, it makes you faithful. The Jesus punchline says we've only done our duty. Okay. Psalms 83, 1 through 18. God, don't shut me out. Don't give me the silent treatment, oh God. Your enemies are out there whooping it up. The God haters are living it up. They're plotting to do your people in conspiring to rob you and your precious ones. Let's wipe this nation from the face of the earth. They say, scratch Israel's name off the books. And now they're putting their heads together, making plans to get rid of you. Edom and the Ishmaelites, Moab and the Hagarites, Gebel and Ammon and Amalek, Philistia and Tyrians, and now Assyria has joined up, giving muscle to the gang of Lot. Do them what you did to Midian, to Sisar and Jabin and Kishon Brook. They came to a bad end in Endor, nothing but dung for the garden. Cut down their leaders as you did Oreb and Zeb. Their princes to nothing like Zebah and Zalumina. Wow, these names. With the empty brags, we're grabbing it all, grabbing God's gardens for ourselves. My God, if I had it with them, I've had it with them. Blow them away. Tumbleweeds in the desert waste, charred sticks in the burnt over ground. Knock the breath right out of them. So they're gasping for breath, gasping, God. Bring them to the end of their rope and leave them there dangling helpless. Then they'll learn your name, God, the only one high God on earth. The breakdown of Psalms 83, 1 through 18, God fights for his name. Enemies are plotting against God's people. The psalmist asks God to defend his name and his people. The lesson says, when you're aligned with God, your battles aren't just yours, they're his. Proverbs 13:4. Indolence wants it all and gets nothing. Indolence. Okay. Indolence wants it all and gets nothing. The energetic have something to show for their lives. Breakdown of Proverbs 13:4 says, desire versus discipline. The soul of the sluggard craves and gets nothing, but the diligent are fully satisfied. Um, okay. Guys, if no one told you today, I love you and I appreciate you. Thank you for jumping in. It was about 19 minutes. That was a little longer tonight than normal. I appreciate you. Have a better than good evening. We will see you tomorrow. It'll be April 15th. I love you. I love you. I love you. Have a better than good night, and we'll see you.